When I first saw this clip, I was kinda shocked. How would someone actually do this? Was it their own choice? Was it peer pressure? Did someone force them to do so? Because I think good of people. I can't imagine people thinking, hey, this sounds fun, let's do it. So is it possible to be pressured into doing something horrible like this? And if so, what causes this? Let's find out in this episode about conformity. In 1961, 3 months after the start of the trial of the Nazi war criminal Eichmann, psychologist Stanley Milgram wanted to answer one very important question. He wanted to answer, could it be that Eichmann and his million accomplices in the Holocaust were just following orders?
We were only following orders, nothing more.
Eichmann was just a normal man. 6 psychologists declared him insane. He had a family life, and people who knew him would describe him as very average. So why did he do such awful things? And could you, or me, also do the same in this situation? To answer this question, he wanted to conduct an experiment, later known as the Milgram experiment. He wanted to find out how far regular people like you and me would go to follow and comply to orders from authority. You might think, well, I think for myself, I wouldn't blindly follow orders. That's at least what I think. And that's also what Milgram thought. So instead of telling the subjects who would participate in his experiment that they were gonna be observed to see how far they would go, they were taught something completely unrelated. When Milgram started looking for a subject, he made an announcement for persons needed for a study of memory. So, what is this experiment? The experiment consisted of 3 individuals. The experimenter, who was in charge and observed the experiment. The teacher, who was the volunteer. He was taught to be assisting the experimenter. And as last, the learner. But they were actors, who pretended to be a volunteer. The teacher, who was the actual volunteer, and was the subject of this experiment. The teacher entered the room where the experimenter already was. The experimenter explained the procedure, and he told the teacher, so you're gonna test the memory of the learner. You're gonna say a couple of word pairs, and the learner has to remember them. If the learner can't correctly repeat them to you, you have to shock him. He went further explaining that the machine in the room was connected to the learner, and that the big red button would shock him if pressed. Also, every time the learner made a mistake, he had to up the amount of volts, up to 450, which basically could kill a person. So the experiment started, and the learner did their best to repeat the word pairs. He gets them good, he gets them wrong, and he gets shocked. Of course the learner was an actor, and he pretended to be in pain. Once in a while the teacher would question himself, and wouldn't be sure if that was the right thing to do, to hurt the learner. And every time the teacher was unsure or asked a question to the experimenter would only say, please, continue. If the teacher asked more often, he'd say, the experiment requires you to continue. It is absolutely essential that you continue. You have no other choice. You must go on. If the teacher was still resisting after the 4th time, the experiment would be stopped, and it would be concluded that this teacher could defy authority. So this experiment was conducted on over 600 people, and even more in later follow-up studies. And the results were shocking. Get it? Shocking. So, what percentage of people actually gave the lethal 450 volt shock? A. 25%. B. 40%, C. 65%, or D. 85%. I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Ready? It's 65%. Almost 2/3 of everyone. That's insane. And even worse, every single subject gave the learner a shock of at least 300 volt. So yes, everyone followed orders from authority. But it isn't really a shock, is it? We mostly follow the laws, and we do what our teacher or boss tells us to do. We listen to our parents when we have to clean our room. So, why is it that we obey or at least comply to them? There are a lot of different factors that can contribute to this. First of all, it's a figure of authority. They have authority because they have the power to punish you. For example, a teacher can give you a bad grade, or your mom can take away the internet, and your boss could kill you. Reasons enough to do as they say. Another factor is the individual who gives you the order. If it is someone you look up to or is deemed important, chances are that you comply more easily than if it's your stupid neighbor Bob. And third, social pressure. If everyone in a group does one thing, it is really difficult to do something else. Another experiment showed this. A subject was tested among others who were actors. They all had to answer questions and all give answers. After a while, the actors purposely gave wrong answers on relatively easy questions. And soon enough, the subject gave in and started questioning themselves and started giving the same answers as the actors.
2.
2.
2.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2.
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing
2.
with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2. 2. 2. 2.
Usually, this is caused by a low self-esteem, low motivation. It is a lot easier to follow someone's lead. It is less awkward, uncomfortable, especially in unfamiliar situations. Also, this way you can delegate your responsibilities and risks on someone else. If your boss tells you to do something and it goes wrong, you can always just say, well, I had to do it because my boss told me so. And then your boss has to take the responsibilities instead of you. So in the end, is it possible to change a regular person into a monster? Yes, definitely. But are we doomed for this to happen? I think not. I think it's great that there are people who are willing to take the risks. But don't lose yourself where you want to follow them. Stay aware of your own norms and stay true to yourself. If you're asked to do something, ask yourself the question: is this something the ideal me would do? If the answer is no, you might consider doing something else. As a disclaimer, the Milgram experiment is quite dated and has been questioned for its validity. So don't take this as the only truth out there. This video was meant for entertainment and to make you think about authority and your role in it. I'm still figuring out how to format this kind of videos and look for ways to make it better. So if you have criticism that can help me, please let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching. Bye.